I'm too old for this. Too old, but boy, does it feel great. Just let me catch my breath here. No, I'm not running because it's the in thing for staying in shape. I'm jogging because of these. Well, perhaps you don't know the story. Shortly after I turned 5, an illness left me crippled. I stayed at home until my parents died. And since I no longer had a place to live, I became a beggar. Not being able to use my legs meant a beggar's life. I begged for over 20 years before this Jesus came by. Oh sure, I had hoped he would come by and heal my legs, but that could never happen. When Jesus healed me, I was with several others at a pool in Bethesda. The area around the pool was inhabited by sick and disfigured people who fought over choice spots near the water's edge. I couldn't imagine Jesus showing up in a place where the germ-spreading dregs of society lived. But he did. He came over to where I was and asked why I was here. I pointed to my legs. He simply said, "Arise, take up your bed and walk." And he stood there with his hand outstretched as if he expected me to stand up and walk. At first, I thought he was kidding. But when I looked into his eyes, there was no mockery, only a fierce authority, as if those eyes could calm storms of nature as well as heal crippled legs. So I placed my hand in his and I was up. Do you hear me? I was up. It was as if I had always been walking. I turned around to thank him, and the next thing I knew, he was gone. I rolled up my bedroll and went racing down the streets on legs that hadn't run for years. I jumped over cracks, over leaves, over anything I could jump, and always landed on 2 strong legs. I headed for the temple, and boy, what a run I set my legs to do. I turned the last corner, collided full force into 3 Pharisees. Before I could help one of them off the ground, I was scolded for carrying my bedroll on the Sabbath. I realized it was my cousin on my father's side, Benjamin, who had spoke. I said, "Benjamin, it's me! I've been healed and now I'm walking, I'm running, I'm leaping." All he wanted to know was who had made me break the Sabbath. Break the Sabbath? I stood there looking at the scowls on their faces until one of them remarked that the longer I stood there holding my bedroll, the greater my sin. I had a good mind to kick him, but thought that the teacher might be displeased if I had used my healed legs to kick someone, even if it was a Pharisee. I told them that, well, I liked carrying my bedroll, and I was on my way to the temple to give God thanks. That's when Benjamin said God wouldn't be interested in the praise of one who broke the law on the Sabbath. The oldest one wanted to know who it was that had done this terrible thing to me. "Why, are you interested in praising him too?" Boy, you should have seen the looks on their faces. They scolded me and forbade me to go to the temple. I laughed, ran between them, and tore up to the temple. But the guards saw me and refused to let me in. I set my bedroll down on the steps and knelt down. I began laughing and praising God like never before. And there he was, the teacher, the Christ. I went over to thank him, and he said to me, "Go and sin no more." And this time, When I looked into his eyes, I realized that the storms that he could calm were the storms of my soul. And he was gone. Shortly after that, the guards threw me off the steps and I was never allowed back, which was okay. I realized then that God didn't really live there. He was walking among us. This Jesus, this Christ, he was and is God Almighty come down to earth. You've seen him, haven't you? Yeah, I can tell. He's been walking among you. If you want to find him, just look for those who were once crippled, ruined, or broken and are now running, leaping, and praising God, and you will find him in their midst. But be careful, because if you seek him out, you will find to your surprise that he's been pursuing you. Well, I must be off and running.